time change, slightly warmer temperatures. Pretty soon we're going to be able to kiss this winter goodbye. Man, that's going to feel good. But in the meantime, we have a fantastic show for you today. Imagine being diagnosed with HIV. What a blow. And to be here to talk about it and being fabulous at the same time, 20 years later, is Community Health Coordinator Marvelous Muchenji. So she's got some great advice for anybody who might be facing that kind of a similar situation, and talk about International Women's Day as well. Cooking with Foodland Ontario. We're making some really fun stuff. Listen to this, carrot pudding. What is carrot pudding? We're going to be making Irish cream sauce, colcannon, and Irish stew. Obviously, we are getting ready for St. Patrick's Day. Author Adrienne Kress is here. She's been on the show before to talk about her novels for young adults. Really great stuff. I mean, anything that gets people and kids excited about reading is tops in my book. She's going one step farther. She's taking her love of literature and writing into areas where she can really connect with these kids, give them hands-on workshops. And guess where she's doing it too? Sick Kids Hospital. It's pretty awesome. Fitness that fits. Nadia Bender received the shock of her life. She's a fitness professional. Imagine she got diagnosed with having a heart attack. Came out of the blue for her, and it happened while she was on vacation. So tips on making sure you keep up with your fitness routine no matter what, because that's what's going to keep your heart strong. Male spring fashions with local designer Tevin Thompson. Real fun, funky stuff. We've even recruited some of our own volunteers here to model for us today, so it's going to be good stuff. Now, at any point, if you happen to like what you're watching and the urge to tweet hits you, we want you to follow through on that urge. At Rogers TV Toronto. Use the hashtag DaytimeTO. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Okay, we're going to Etobicoke to talk to the editor from Snap to Etobicoke. It's Kashama Patel. Kashama, how are you?
Hi, Val. I'm doing really good. How are you today?
I am excellent. It's so great to talk to you. I know you've got a slew of things coming up that you want to give some airtime to. So shall we start with the Seniors Advisory Group meeting?
Yes, this is Donna, our MPP. I always get those initials confused. Donna Canfield hosts a Seniors Advisory Group meeting, and it's a great way for the seniors in the community to get together with her and chat. And this month, and she always brings a guest speaker, and this month it's Gail Ritchie from Toronto Public Health. And Gail has got a great program for them about eating right for your age, and she's also done a lot of research.
Eating for your age?
Yeah, so finding the right nutrition for the age that you're at. What should you be looking at? What nutrients should you be looking at? Eating more of this, less of this.
Yeah, I suspect there's going to be a lot less ofs in that category. Right?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to balance that out now so that I don't have to worry about that when I get older, but who knows?
Good luck with that. Let me know how that works out for you. Now, what is this? Build a lavender bunny?
Yeah, now this one actually looks really interesting because I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. This is Plant World up on Eglinton near Scarlett. And Plant World has brought in, or is bringing in next week on Wednesday, Ludmilla Owen. And she is from Lavender Blue. And she's going to help some kids make a lavender bunny. So they're going to take lavender and make a little bunny rabbit out of it.
Aww.
And it's really interesting because her little company there, Lavender Blue, lavender has so many great health benefits and just even the aromatherapy benefits of it. So I think the kids will have a lot of fun, and maybe the moms and dads will be a little bit happy because they'll relax a little bit.
Yeah. That's what they say. You're supposed to have it at nighttime, aren't you? And people are eating it. I find it sometimes in the tea blends that I'm buying, and you can put it into desserts.
Into baking. A friend of mine for my birthday last year knows how much I love the smell of lavender, and she gave me some baking lavender.
Wow, that's so interesting. And were we looking at a field of lavender there a moment ago?
I believe so, yes. From her website, there's some fantastic pictures of
gorgeous,
huge fields of lovely purple flowers.
Yeah, okay. That sounds cool. Expressions in color, speaking of purple.
Yes, so this is Art Mimico, and they are having it's an amateur art group, and they're having their second annual art show at the Assembly Hall, which is a fantastic location down there in South Etobicoke, and wonderful because they welcome in all these lovely community groups, and everybody gets a chance to sort of have their little bit of fame and show off their talents. So these are the members of Art Mimico, and they're going to be displaying a variety of works in oils, acrylics, watercolor, pen, ink, and the show's going to be on for a while. It's going to run until April, but the opening reception is next Thursday.
All right, so we'll mark that down on our calendar. Have you ever tried to paint or be an artist in any way?
No, I haven't. I claim that I can barely do stick figures. You know, I might benefit. I like to go and look at the art, but it doesn't necessarily inspire me to get beyond a stick figure.
Right. It's interesting, though. People who are creative, they tend to be, if they're good musicians, they tend to also be good artists. I find that fascinating.
Yes, unfortunately, my talents don't run in that direction.
I hear you. I'm in the same boat. The Kingsway Women's Club. Now, one thing I can do well is drink tea and eat sandwiches.
Yes, and the Kingsway Women's Club, again, great group. They get together and they meet every month for this lovely afternoon tea, and they are always inviting new members. So this month, they're having Peggy Perdue, who is the curator of the Arthur Conan Doyle collection at the Toronto Reference Library.
He's the guy who wrote Sherlock Holmes.
And Sherlock Holmes is very popular at the moment with the TV shows Elementary and then the BBC television series Sherlock. So I think this is very timely. And apparently, as I was looking this up, the Arthur Conan Doyle collection at the Reference Library is one of the foremost and largest collections in the world of A.C. Doyle's work.
Excellent.
So I think that's going to be a very interesting talk.
Tell us about your feature event, Super Bowl Sunday.
Super Bowl Sunday. I hope you guys there. Our photographer had a lot of fun with this event because he went around Etobicoke and hit some of our popular hotspots in Etobicoke and caught all the football action and all the football fan action, I should say. So you've got your choice of pictures to look at in that event.
Everybody was having fun.
It was a good day.
Even though the game was kind of decided in the beginning.
Yeah, I have to say the game was not as exciting, but you couldn't tell it from all the faces in these pictures.
That's right. It's a good excuse to get together with your friends. Ballin' for breast cancer.
Yeah, this was something I decided to highlight. Etobicoke Basketball Association. They organized a breast cancer awareness fundraiser, and it's the Etobicoke Thunder. So this is their under-17 team who actually organized this tournament. They got 8 other teams involved, and they had a great pink awareness day going on there. So the teams, the Etobicoke Thunder team, all dressed in pink. You can catch them. You can pick them out pretty easily out of the crowd of boys playing basketball there.
You said those were 17-year-olds?
Yes.
There was one guy making a basket. It was as high as any NBAer would have reached. It was amazing.
They're pretty tall, these 17-year-olds.
Yeah. All right, snapetobicoke.com if we want more info, right?
That's us.
Fantastic. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
You too. Thank you.
And when we come back, I can't even imagine what it was like to get an HIV diagnosis. We'll find out how she weathered that storm and is here to help others. Be right back. Well, I'm thrilled to have the Community Health Coordinator from Women's Health in Women's Hands at the Community Health Center. It's Marvelous Muchenje. It is wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.
When anyone introduces themselves to you and finds out your name is Marvelous, I bet you a smile just immediately erupts on their face, right?
Yes, but sometimes they don't understand what I'm really saying, whether I really mean marvelous is the word marvelous. So sometimes I have to spell the name out. Then they say, oh, marvelous. And I say, yes, marvelous.
Well, you are marvelous. And in a moment, we'll talk about what it's been like since your HIV diagnosis almost 20 years ago now.
19 years.
Wow, 19 years. Let's talk a little bit about Women's Health in Women's Hands. What is that?
Women's Health in Women's Hands is a community health center. We are situated on 2 Carlton, downtown Toronto. We all women service providers within the center, and we serve Black women and women of color. we also have different disciplines. It's a multidisciplinary team. We've got doctors, we've got nurses, we've got social workers, we have therapists, we've got dietitians, and someone who deals also with the food care. And we've got different programs that range from health promotion. We also have diabetes program, and we have prenatal and postnatal programs.
Such a comprehensive, well-rounded range of programs. That's quite
Yes, it
something.
is.
So someone walking into your center is in good hands, obviously.
Yes, they are.
That's good to know. Okay, so March 8th is International Women's Day, a big day for you.
Yes.
How do you celebrate?
I always celebrate International Women's Day with pride, because I recognize all the women that have walked past. Some are late, some have died, but there's so many women who I salute, who have made me who I am today, who have been with me through my struggles, who have been also with other women living with HIV, and also women who've been, despite living with HIV, they've been able to provide for their families, they've been able to contribute meaningfully in the society. So I recognize those efforts that have been done, but I also recognize that there's still more gaps to be covered. So when I'm living and thinking about International Women's Day, I try to think of how best can we involve other women who are not fortunate enough to be visible in the community or to be heard. How can we make their voices be heard, and how can they participate also meaningfully in their lives and also the lives of the community?
And we have so much to learn from you specifically and your journey. Being diagnosed with HIV 19 years ago must have come as such a shock.
Yes, it did.
You received it from a man, is that right?
Yes, I did.
People forget that it can be transmitted that way. So tell me how you were feeling. Did you suspect something? You were having some symptoms?
Yes, it was a shock, but to some extent it was not a shock too, because you know, when you are young, I was about 23 years old. When you're in love, sometimes you just don't think that much that I can be infected with HIV, and I knew about these past relationships and the current relationships, but you just hope that maybe it will change with time, you will change, but sometimes people don't change. So when I got to know that I was HIV positive, yes, it was with regrets that maybe I should have known better, but also with guilty and also blaming, and I was sad. And at that time, there wasn't much treatment available, and I'm from Zimbabwe, so there wasn't treatment available, so I thought I was going to die any minute, and I had seen other friends or community members dying from HIV, so it was a horrible time.
Oh, must have been just awful. You had some flu symptoms. You,
Yes.
you knew physically there was something wrong. You went to the doctor.
For me, it was hard at first. I suspected, yes, but I was also pregnant. I was pregnant, 5 months pregnant, so I wasn't sure whether there were pregnant signs or there were HIV signs. But just having a sexually transmitted disease that time made me want to have an HIV test when I was pregnant, because we were not using any contraception, any condoms. So for me, and I knew that there might be a possibility. So I asked my doctor whether I could have an HIV test, and it came back positive.
Oh, wow. You must have been fearing for your child as well, your unborn child.
Yes.
Well, here you are 19 years later. You look fantastic.
Yeah.
What was the turning point for you?
So for the first about 10 years, I didn't go for any counseling. I just kept to myself. I had told, yes, my family members, my close friends, but you know, each day as you live, you feel like, oh, I'm not dying, I'm still surviving, and you just let go of the hurt and the pain. But what really held me back was that pain. I was just hoping that one day you come and admit that he was HIV positive, and he never wanted us to have that discussion, and he refused to go for HIV testing himself until when he was sick. So when I realized I've got my life to live, and just to mention that I left when I was 5 months pregnant, when I realized I was HIV positive, I left the relationship because I really wanted to protect my child. and he didn't want to go for to see the doctor or to get any treatment. So I had left the relationship, but I still had this bitterness, and I realized the bitterness was holding me back. And the moment that I forgave him and realized that even if I'm going to be bitter, the virus is not going to disappear, I just was so determined that I was going to live my life. And and I started going for support and meeting other people who were HIV positive.
Gosh, that's so important to forgive and having that community around you. Well, we can learn so much. I wish we had all day. I thank you so much for being here today. And if you want more information, WHIWH, Women's Health in Women's Hands.
Yes.
.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
When we come back, warm carrot pudding and so much more to celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you.
Time goes by. Barb Holland is here. We love her, professional home economist from Foodland, Ontario. Okay, we're smelling all this good stuff. What are you making today?
Well, we've sort of got an Irish theme going on here, and we've got, let's start with dessert. It's a steamed
Start with dessert, okay.
steamed carrot pudding, and they're neat because they're individual and you make them in little muffin pans, and you can make them 2 or 3 days ahead.
They look like upside down cupcakes.
Yeah, exactly. And with a very rich sauce, which if we have time, we'll get to that too. And we have an Irish stew, which I won't be making, but I'll talk about because it's made in the slow cooker, very easy. And then the mixture underneath is called colcannon. Have you heard of that?
Is that, you mean this stuff here?
Yeah, it's basically a mixture of, it's actually mashed potatoes and cabbage, or kale, depending on, you know, there's so many variations of something, and I think it was a way to use up old, you know, but leftover mashed potatoes if you make a whole pile, because potatoes were very big in the Irish, they kept them alive for many, many years. So let's start with this, because I'm just melting a little bit of butter over here to cook the cabbage, but essentially this is, I think we might not use this, only because it's noisy, but you would probably use it at home. So I'm going to just soften some butter with some brown sugar, and if you wouldn't mind mixing, there's flour, baking powder, baking soda, salt, and there's cinnamon and nutmeg and or ginger. One of the first steps, though, is to take carrots. Cut up about 3 cups of carrots, about 1 inch, and cook them till they're very tender. And then you just put them in the food processor and puree them or mash them. Yeah, exactly. So butter, brown sugar, whoops, lump that in. I've got 3 eggs in here. Oops. And I'll just whip them all in. Again, you can beat them all up. And there's also some vanilla in there too.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
My understanding is that carrots is one of those vegetables where we actually benefit from cooking it. Is that right? That
Yes.
we actually absorb the nutrients from carrots a little better when it's been cooked?
Many of those antioxidants are the
Right.
same. Tomato is the same. Now this is melted, so I'm just going to put some cabbage in. It's about 5 cups of cabbage. Put that in. Cabbage is a good source of vitamin C, so you don't have to go south, even though we'd all like to, but it's nice to get your vitamin C somewhere. So I'm going to cook that a little bit with some shallot. Put that in. Just stir fry. Then I'm going to just let that go.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll keep beating. So you'd make this nice and smooth because you can with a mixer, whereas I didn't want to make all that noise.
Why don't you use it? I don't mind.
Oh, yeah, okay. Whoops. And just a little bit of vanilla. There we go. Let's put this in. And then the
Okay.
carrots are also adding the other moisture. There isn't any added moisture other than the carrots. Yes.
Right, because they're
Yeah, like
They
a
are
carrot
pretty
cake
wet
and all
already.
of that. Steamed puddings are very popular over in British and Irish cuisine.
now they say pudding. We would almost think of it like a cake, wouldn't we?
Yeah, their term of pudding. Have you been watching Downton Abbey?
Oh, I'm one of the last people to get on board. One of these
are
days
you?
I will.
Okay.
Do they say pudding?
Pudding means dessert, because I always say, what's for pudding? Well, I'm not having pudding. I'm not serving pudding, but it actually means dessert. Here, I'll let you mix that up. In the meantime, you make them into muffin pan and would just grease it, put them in there, and then you put them in a roasting pan and fill that up about halfway with just some boiling water from the kettle.
Why? What does the water do?
It's basically a water bath. You know, when you make
Creme brulee.
creme brulee and all of those, it just so it doesn't overcook and get too tough. And
Yes,
you bake it. Mhm.
I make creme brulee all the time, don't you?
Yeah, oh yeah. Of course, there you go. Now there's just a little bit of milk that goes in here, and we're going to let that simmer. It only takes about 5 minutes or so until it's nicely done. The thing about it is you don't want, I'm just going to move that a bit, overcooked cabbage. I think that's the problem with most people when they cook cabbage, it's a little bit overcooked.
Right.
Okay? So this, you would again, leftovers, and you'd heat them up, and then we'll mix that together, and you serve it like that. There's also, now in British cuisine, there's something called bubble and squeak. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I have heard of that.
Yeah.
What is that?
Essentially, it's the same idea. It's a great way to use up leftovers from the Sunday roast. So on Monday, usually you have bubble and squeak, and it's often with potatoes, and whether it's cabbage or maybe you've got leftover carrots or whatever you happen to have, you put it together. And where the name came from, this is my understanding anyway, is that you put it in a skillet, and it's the noise that it was making. It sounded bubbly and squeaky, and so that's where the name came from. So I want to talk a little bit about potatoes. If you buy them in the bag, you'll see that they are from Ontario, so that's the way to buy them, because often when you buy them loose, I find when I read labels that they tend to be from somewhere else other than Ontario.
I didn't know that.
And you get a really much better deal if you do go through potatoes and buy them in a bag. I bought a 10-pound bag of these russet potatoes for $2.88, which is a really good deal, you know. So I mean, it's very economical to do so. So they call these kind of baking potatoes, and these are called more of an all-purpose or a round potato. And these hold their shape better. They're starchier, so they're better for a potato salad, that kind of thing. Whereas these tend to make great baked potatoes, but also mashed potatoes because they have a tendency to be drier and fluffier. Okay. And that's what I made in here. Oops, this needs to be turned down. Okay, we'll turn that down and just give it another stir or whatever. Oh, goodness. So over here, this is the indulgent side over here. I'm melting some butter with brown sugar. Oops.
Oh, yeah. Is this going to be for our
pudding? Yes, and some whipping cream is going in here. And we've got some liqueur. This is just an Irish cream type of liqueur. And a little bit of vanilla. Oops, just a drop. And then we'll bring that to a boil, and then you want to reduce it and just let it simmer until it thickens. I think it takes about 5 to 8 minutes. And that too can be made ahead. That's another nice thing about it. And you put it into something, a jar or a container, and it will become more solid, but then you just microwave it to soften it up to serve.
hard sauce?
Yes,
They've called it.
very much like that, yes. There you go. So that's, looking really nice.
Very well.
And with the shallots in there. Now these two, these are in the onion family.
But they've got kind of like a garlicky smell or taste. Yeah, no?
And they always say that they're milder than regular onions, which I have as well. But it depends. I find that sometimes you can open one up and go, whoa, that's really strong, and sometimes they are a bit milder. It's nice to have them because they're nice in salads or making maybe salad dressing or whatever. And sometimes you don't want a big, large onion. And I find when I buy onions now, they tend to be really big, and I just want something a bit smaller. But we are growing them. They were French shallots, but we are growing them now in Ontario as well. So be sure to look for those.
Okay.
Yes.
They're pretty interchangeable with onions for most things, would you say?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, whatever you can find. And again, they're very reasonable onions and the shallots. We still have, despite the fact that we're still covered with snow, we still have squash that's available because the hard squashes particularly keep really, really well. Carrots, my favorite, parsnips, there's the cabbage, and of course onions.
These are the parsnips.
Yes.
Always used to get those confused with turnips, but they're not at all the same.
No. I didn't bring a rutabaga either, but a rutabaga and a turnip are similar, but they're different. They're cousins, actually. Let's just turn that off because I don't particularly like overcooked cabbage, and you just want really, that extra milk that's in there will be really nice into the potatoes. And then heat that all up and just serve it. Now the stew I haven't talked about yet, but essentially it's a slow cooker recipe. And what's a little bit different about that recipe is that you cut the carrots up and the onions and put them in the bottom of the slow cooker without pre-cooking them.
Okay.
And then you brown up the flour with a little, the meat, the beef, with a little bit of tossed flour. Brown that up, throw it on with some low sodium beef stock, and then just cook it for 6 to 8 hours until it's nice and tender.
Love
Very
that.
simple.
When you come home and you walk in the door and it smells like you've got a personal chef making
good
dinner
idea.
for you. Oh.
Yeah. No, it is. It does nice smells to come home to. So essentially that's it. You just stir it up, mix it up, and serve it.
Yummy. Because
you.
mashed potatoes, you know, a lot of things, stew is great the next day.
Yes.
Chili is great the next day. Mashed potatoes,
not so
much.
good.
So that's a great way to bring back the potatoes.
The potatoes.
Give it a little bit of new life.
Yes.
And add some nutrition as well. Stick around because we're going to have more with Barb after the break. Talk a little bit more about how this fantastic Irish meal is going to come together. Stay tuned. Good things. Barb Holland is here from Foodland Ontario, professional home economist, and she's doling out the carrot pudding that we're going to put into a lovely hot water bath and in the oven for how long?
It's 40 to 45 minutes at 325 degrees or until a toothpick, comes clean out of it.
We've got so many great recipes from Foodland
Yes.
Ontario, and I love this booklet too, Good Things Grow in Ontario. These recipes are great because they come with their own little index card, right? You
on the
can
back.
tear this up.
Yep.
So here's the potato, mushroom, and leek pizza, but the recipe for it is right there. Goes into your, however you store your recipes so easily. Love that.
Foodland Ontario does them quarterly, so seasonally. So this is the winter one, and you should be able to find it in the produce section.
Okay.
Yeah, so look for that.
So those get baked, then this fabulous sauce goes on
Yes.
top. This, of course, is after you've had your Irish stew. And what do you call that cabbage stuff underneath?
Colcannon.
Colcannon.
And the COL comes from, I think, from kale or cabbage. It's a col, COL.
Colcannon. Love that. Oh,
Yes.
you always got such great ideas. Thank you so much.
Good for you.
And if we want the recipes, we go to foodlandontario.ca, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, what a healthy meal.
Yes.
Okay. Still to come on the show, Fitness That Fits with Nadia Bender. You've got to fit your fitness in no matter where you are. She's going to teach us how to do that. Male spring fashions from local designer Tevin Thompson. And author Adrienne Kress next on the work she's doing with sick kids. Love that too.
Great.
All right. Watch over 70 youth skaters compete at the Scarborough Figure Skating Club competition. You can see these future stars from all skill levels participate. And for more information on the complete schedule, just visit rogerstv.com/figureskating. Starting March 11th at 7 p.m., watch over 20 teams compete for the OHL Cup. And you can visit rogerstv.com/OHL Cup for the full schedule. Don't miss these top minor midget hockey players in action. All right, as we wait for our next guest, here she comes. Here, let's look at some of these fabulous books that she's written. So here's one called The Friday Society. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, I was busy out with my adoring fans.
Well, listen, you were being mesmerized by the pudding, the carrot pudding.
Oh my God, it looked so good.
Here's one, The Friday Society. She's got another one called Outcast. And these books, like so many of your works, written for young readers. What age would you say?
These two are for teens, I'd say 12 and up. And then I've got two more that are sitting on the table, and those are more for 8 to 12.
Okay.
So the range.
Yeah. What do you love about writing for kids that age?
Well, I have to say that I love writing. So it isn't just about writing for a particular age group. I happen as a reader to love these books. Some of my favorite books are Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan. I think that they allow for a real sense of whimsy and warmth and hope that sometimes in adult fiction we don't necessarily get all the time.
That's a good point.
So that's what I like about them. Of course, the audience is the best audience in the world. And also kids and teens will let you know if they don't like what you've done. So you have to be really careful with your writing, and it's pretty awesome.
I remember being that age. When I was reading, I was in that book. That book became part of me because we accept it. So we accept it as reality so much faster than we do as cynical adults.
Yes.
So a good book at that age is quite transformative.
Well, I think every reader and every author will have that kid's book, or book they read as a child, that was a massive influence and that sparked this love of reading, which is sort of why it can sometimes feel a little frustrating that children's literature isn't necessarily considered as serious or taken as seriously as adult literature, because that adult literature, I believe, would not exist without this one kid's book that inspired that author to write.
Got to develop your love of reading somewhere. You don't just grow up and suddenly say, I'm going to read. You have to have loved reading all along.
Yeah.
I agree completely. Really, it's the precursor. It's the reading education that you're providing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to take this a step further. You love writing, and it sounds like you love teaching people about writing.
I do. I have teaching DNA flowing through my veins. My parents are both high school English teachers. My entire family, we just spread out as teachers. So it's something that I absolutely adore. I've learned so much, even just as an author. With every book I write, I learn more about myself and my writing, and I'd like to share that as much as I can.
So you're out there doing workshops with kids, and I mean, it'd be great no matter who you were doing it with, but I love that you're taking this into Toronto Sick Kids.
Well, I mean, the kids there, they need to have entertainment, and they bring people in to entertain, and it's a lot of fun, and I've met a few of the entertainers. But what I love about this particular workshop is that I get to work with the kids and teens on something that they are particularly passionate about. So we actually sit down and we write and we work together. It's not me performing for them. It's a real collaborative process.
So you did one on the 3rd.
Yes.
And tell us what you did there.
Well, for me, one of the biggest problems for me as a writer is actually just getting started. So I like to work with kids and teens and on just getting out of our own heads, of overthinking everything. Just how do we just start writing and just go for it and be brave? So I do a workshop based around that, lots of different exercises. It involves writing, but it even involves drawing pictures. There's a lot of different elements involved, and it's
Getting
a
out
lot
of our
fun.
own way,
Yeah.
right?
Which, I mean, I get in my own way a lot, and I'm a grown-up, and I think because I know how frustrating it is, I want to try to foster bravery and just a fearlessness when it comes to approaching these things at an age where they can sort of embrace it and take it on with them into adult life.
On Tuesday, you're
Yes.
doing your second workshop.
Yes,
What's
yeah.
that going to be?
Well, actually, that one is going to be more of a reading and then a bit of an interview, sort of talking a bit more about the process of writing and that sort of thing, which I hope is interesting. I have learned so much as an author. I know now I have 4 books out, but I still feel very new at all of it. And I love learning about the publishing process, and it's a very interesting world. So hopefully they will too.
I bet you they will. What is your process?
Oh.
And part B to that question. Has your process evolved as you write more books?
Oh, that's an epic question. It's so difficult. For me, I will say yes, the process has evolved, not so much from book to book, but when I wrote my first book, that was an incredibly different experience than when I'd been trying to write all those years before I finally achieved the goal of writing a book. And I had always written, I like to sit down and start writing a story, kind of like I'm playing make-believe, like I'm in there in the moment, and just write it. And I didn't want to ever plan, because then, well, I know what's going to happen, so it's kind of boring. That was my train of thought. But it always meant that I would write myself into a corner, or I would just sort of go, I don't know what happens next. Next story, yay. So what I developed and discovered about myself was, if I give myself a very basic outline for writing, very, very basic, and then I allow myself the exploration, the ability to fill in all the blanks, but still know I have to hit certain places, that allows me to actually write a complete story. So that was a big discovery for me.
The freedom, the ability to surprise yourself,
Yes.
which you enjoy.
Yes.
But you've got a plan.
Some structure, there will be the end at the end of it,
Yeah, otherwise you're starting and never finishing.
Yes.
So you build in the follow through.
Exactly, absolutely.
So that's how you work now.
Yeah, absolutely. I also discovered that for me, I couldn't allocate just a certain amount of time a day, because I've got a very strange schedule, and I'm also an actor, so sometimes an audition will come up, or I'm working on something. So to schedule, I will always write at this time of day, was difficult. But writing a certain number of words a day, regardless of when I write, that works really, really well for me as well.
When my brother is also a writer, and when he says he's in that zone, the words just almost flow out. It's almost like you're being
Well, I'm very
channeled.
jealous.
You've
Very
never had that
jealous.
experience?
I have once in a while. Mostly it's a lot of effort. It's I compare it to exercise, at least for me with exercise. I don't want to do it. I don't want to go. I finally get to the gym. I don't want to be there. I start exercising. I'm in pain. It isn't until I'm done that I'm really proud of myself, and I feel really good, and I'm happy to have done it. It's the exact same thing for me with writing. Once in a while you get the adrenaline with the running and the exercise. Once in a while you get this amazing flow of inspiration.
Your next book?
Oh, actually, okay, so the next book is, I'm still writing, and it's an adult book, and it's very different, and I am a little nervous about it. I've never written anything like this, but I'm almost at the end. It's really coming together, and I'm very excited about it.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we want more information on the March 11th event or anything else, your books, we can go to your website, adriankress.com, right?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
When we come back, fitness that fits and how to make sure you've got a heart strong enough to endure maybe even a heart attack. Can you imagine? Okay, Nadia Bender is here, and she's the owner of Fitness That Fits in Etobicoke, and obviously you are probably the main instructor there and personal trainer. So, I mean, it's shocking to think that someone in your shoes could have any health issues whatsoever, let alone a heart attack. Tell me about what happened.
Yes, that was 8 months ago. I experienced severe.
But I was so much better than the kids in my class.
I came on when I was actually on vacation in Cuba.
Wow.
And the
You're on
pains.
vacation.
I was on vacation, so that's usually when it happens when you're relaxing. So I experienced severe chest pains, and they came on, and I had no idea that I was actually having a heart attack. At that point, I felt as if, oh, I think I might have overdone it on the exercises, because, of course, when I'm on vacation, I go into the gym, I do things on the beach, so I stay active, and so I was associating the pains to muscle pain and not necessarily heart attack pain. But then 2 weeks later, I continued teaching my classes at my studio, Fitness That Fits, and during one of my regular classes, it was a cardio class, I was doing the exercises and I got the exact same pain in my chest again, severe, and of course being me, I pushed through the pain, denying the pain was happening, but it was exactly the same pain I had before. And it turned out by that nighttime, I took myself into the hospital, and I had suffered a heart attack.
And the thing that saved your life
was my fitness. And my cardiologist said if I wasn't as fit and as strong as I was when I had the heart attack, I would have died at a very young age.
So the rule of thumb here is?
So your health doesn't take a break when you go on vacation. And I have a lot of my clients say, okay, I'm going on my trip on March break, or I'm going on a trip and I'm not going to do anything. And I kind of look at them and I think, okay, you don't have to do your regular hard workout that I would be making you do through the personal training piece of it, but it's good to always stay active.
So you've recreated a hotel room here.
Exactly, exactly.
We can work out without needing the gym equipment.
Right, you don't need any equipment. You don't even need your shoes. You can take your shoes off if you want to.
Okay.
Okay. And you don't even have to wear any workout clothes. Let's say this is your desk, okay?
Okay.
So you have a desk at the in the hotel room. You can work your upper body and your core doing push-ups. So placing your hands on top, leaning your body forward. The more that your body stays in a nice straight line, the more the abdominals are going to work. You're going to inhale through the nose on your way down, exhale through the mouth on your way up. Okay, this is working the chest muscles. Let's say we want to work a little bit more of the triceps. Take your hands more into a triangle position.
Oh boy.
Okay, and then lean forward. Okay, let's say this exercise is really easy for you because the higher the height, the easier it is.
Okay.
You can transfer this and do your push-ups straight down on the floor. This is your floor space between your desk in the hotel room and your bed with your pillow. And there is the couch or the chair that happens to be there in the room too. So now we're going to be doing some exercises for the lower part of the body.
Okay.
So you're going to go one leg forward, one leg behind. Okay, and we're going to go down into a lunge, arms out. We're going to work our upper bodies at the same time. Keeping the shoulders back, abdominals nice and tight. I want you to give me some arm circles and go up.
Oh, my balance. There we go.
And down. Good. So the deeper you go, the more difficult it is. The faster your arms, the harder it is. The faster you go up and down, the more cardiovascular it will be.
You can do this while you're watching the local news channel or something.
Exactly.
Right?
Now let's say you wanted to add a little bit more intensity, okay? You can still use your abdominal strength when you're doing this. You can go into a front kick. So this is still your bed, so your goal is to get your legs over the bed.
Okay.
Height of the bed. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. And you can do a bunch of reps like that. Now let's say you wanted to add in a little bit more of your glute muscles, your hip flexors. You can go right over the bed into a side kick.
Whee!
Okay, so the stronger you keep the abdominals, the higher the leg can go.
You feel that right there.
Exactly. Okay, so let's say, well, now we take a look at the bed and we think, well, I just want to take a break. So it's not exactly what I want you to do, but this is the posture I'd like you to get into. You're going to have a seat down on the bed. Let's pretend we're at the edge of the bed, okay? You can take the pillow if you want, place it underneath you to give yourself a little bit of support in your lower back.
Okay.
Okay? You're going to work your upper abdominals, your lower abdominals, and you're going to go into bicycle legs.
And you can do this on the bed?
On the bed. Okay, you want to try it?
Yeah, okay. Now I've got my mics here, but you were doing it with the mic, so you should be okay. All right.
So leaning back.
Okay.
Okay, hands behind the head. Keeping the abdominals nice and tight. Yeah, you can twist your body, elbow to your knee.
What were you doing? Were you
Okay,
doing something
I
else?
was just holding the upper body
Oh,
still
all
and
right.
just doing the bicycle legs.
There we go. Whee!
Okay, now, let's say we wanted to make that exercise a little bit more difficult. I'm going to take that pillow away and I'm going to engage your inner thigh muscles, your adductors. You're going to squeeze that pillow, okay?
Okay.
And then you're going to hold your hands like this. And you're going to take your elbows and you're going to take it behind you.
Like that?
Yes, exactly. And you're going to twist and you're going to twist. So now we're working the upper abdominals, the lower abdominals, and the obliques, the side of your stomach. If you keep squeezing that pillow tight, you're going to work the inner thigh muscles at the same time.
It makes a real difference doing the squeeze.
Now, if you want to make that a little bit more challenging, lifting those legs up like you just did, keep them up and engaged, and twisting even more. So lots of abdominal exercises you can do while you are in the seated posture.
Woo!
Okay?
All right.
Now, if you wanted to engage a little bit more, if you want to stand back up,
Okay.
and we're going to go into a hip lift with our elbows on the chair. So you're going to drop your hips down, you're going to squeeze your glutes and lift your hips up. You're going to exhale on your up, inhale on your down.
Cool.
Okay?
We could be doing this at home too. We don't have to do
Yes,
this just at the.
You can do this anywhere, but this is something where these
Is
are
that right?
exercises, yes. Keeping the legs nice and straight so your hamstrings are engaged, lifting the hips and butt as high as you can go. It's working your triceps as well.
Yes, it is.
So all these exercises you can do without any equipment, and you don't have to worry about going into a gym or feeling uncomfortable. You can be working your muscle groups, and if you wanted to add in any kind of cardiovascular exercises in between them, you can do regular jumping jacks. You can jog on the spot. You can do fake jump ropes. Okay, so like a minute of these cardiovascular exercises in between all of these.
And then you've built yourself your own circuit
entire
training.
workout. There you go.
This is so cool. Again, we didn't use any gym equipment whatsoever, except maybe a yoga mat, but you were subbing that in
That's
for your
for the bed. That's for the bed.
So for heaven's sake, if she can do that with nothing, imagine what she can do for you in a professional fitness studio.
Exactly.
Fitnessthatfits.ca. How are you feeling today, by the way?
Much better. I'm
You look
back to
amazing.
doing full classes, personal training clients, and even running boot camps.
There you go.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. So a heart attack 8 months ago?
8 months ago.
Here you are today. Fitnessthatfits.ca. After the break, we're going to see some fashions from Fourth Kind. We've even involved some of our volunteers as models. That was awesome.
It's good.
Yeah. All right, we've got the CEO and founder of Fourth Kind, Tevin Thompson, who is one of not the, but one of the youngest CEOs I have ever met. It's unbelievable. And considering you're 18 now,
Yeah.
you started your company when you were just 16.
Yeah. I started fashion when I was 16.
How did you get into fashion at that age?
High school. High school. I accidentally got put in a high school fashion class. I think I went to try to apply for auto, and they put me in fashion, and like a month and a half later, they caught it, and they're like, would you like to switch back? And I'm like,
By then, you'd kind of...
no, I kind of like this.
See, there are no accidents.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And not only did you enjoy it, you decided to make a career at it. So you actually have been designing clothes since then.
Yeah.
What was the first thing you made?
So I believe after school, I had an idea and I drew up, because in class we have to draw up a whole bunch of ideas. I drew something up and I ended up making it, and it was a really simple T-shirt. I think it had like a pocket right here. And the next day I wore it to school, and then my friend that I work with now to help with my company.
Does it look anything like what we're seeing here?
That's one of the things from last year, actually.
Okay.
That was a part of my new mentality group that I helped run. It's a charity. It's a long story.
I know. The charity thing is a whole other story. So you wore this shirt with a pocket, and did people fall all over it?
Yeah, my best friend saw it, and he's like, oh my gosh, where'd you get that? I want to buy one too. We'll be matching and all this stuff. And I'm kind of just like, I kind of made it. I can get you one. I can make you one. And then that's how like the business side of everything kind of just slowly started. And then later, grade 12, my company Fourth Kind officially launched.
Wow. And now you
Yeah.
design clothes for a living, not just for your friends. You get a lot of involvement with the music industry as well. Plus, you've got all this involvement with community groups. Why is that important to you?
It's important to me because, well, I've always been a big helper of a lot of different community groups, East Metro Youth Services. The Ottawa Center of Excellence is where I work with right now. But I help with photojournalism, video journalism, radio journalism with the Say Word program run by Prior Avenue Jam, just sending that out there. And it was a big part of building me, because I used to do photography.
Right.
And so that's where I like to give back.
It's interesting, one of the shirts that we're going to be showing, I love this. It takes a second, and then you realize, oh,
Yeah.
that's Toronto, right?
It's
spelled backwards.
Yeah. It's what I call home.
It reminds me, it strikes me as a photo, I can see your photographic eye in that.
Yeah, because it's really a simple, if it was spelled normal, it would just be a really simple tribute, but it almost forces you to give a second look at it.
You're right. All right, we're going to see some of these lovely fashions on actual people. Come on in, first model. We've recruited some of our volunteers here at Rogers. All right, what are we looking at?
So this is it's almost like a tropical African print baseball tee with a black body, and then the sleeves as the print.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of Toronto's extremely multicultural to start off with, but I wanted to show that in a lot of my designs. And I saw this fabric, and I'm like, I've seen this in so many different places. I went to Woburn CI high school, and I'm like, I need to do this now.
This is going to be in one of my clothes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Kadeem. That's cool. Okay. Yeah, it's quite vibrant, and guys can wear vibrant prints like that. Why not?
Yeah.
All right, come on out. And now, that's nifty. What is that fabric on the front?
So it's a really shiny, almost polyester type fabric. It almost looks like leather too, with a bandana print printed on it, and then the back is a black body. It's a very trendy design for right now, but I really like the design of the bandana print. I really like leather.
That would look great under a jacket, right?
Yeah. We had one that's black on black, and we had one that's white on black, but they're both really my flavor, I guess. And so it's what I I only design what I would like to wear, and so that's how I came up with that.
That's cool. All right. Thanks, Kevin. Awesome.
Thank you.
That is nifty. We can find these on your website, right?
Yeah.
What else? What other things can we look forward to?
So we've done shirts, we've done jackets, we've done bracelets, we've done backpacks, we've branched into pants a little bit. We will be going back into pants, but that's just untouched territory for now.
Well, someone with an entrepreneurial mind like you, I know that there are big things coming. What's your next big move?
Our next big move, well, there's a program called Remix right now, the Remix Project, and we're working with amazing photographers like Jay Wills, and we're working with designers and a whole bunch of different people, and so we're trying to, from one of the people I met through networking, we're trying to build a fashion event in October.
Love that. So for more information, Fourth Kind, but it's spelled FIVRTH kind.com. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We'll be watching. Now here's one of our volunteers, Bryce, with your community events. That's so cool. Yeah, I love that paisley. I call it paisley.
Head to Richview Library for a dancing juggler show on Monday from 2 p.m. Marla Brennan is a gentle and comedic clown who eases children into audience participation, dances to classical music, and even juggles and eats her entire lunch. Program is in French. Drop in, no registration required. Call 416-394-5120 for details. This March break, kids can enjoy problem solving and mysteries around Black Creek Pioneer Village. Secret messages, decoding and making disguises are all part of this fun and unique event which takes place on Monday from 11 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Get more details by calling 416-736-1733. Breaking free of the victim role involves moving out of a comfort zone where things happen to us, to where we begin to make things happen. Learn creative techniques to empower yourself to action in all areas of your life at the free workshop hosted by Scarborough Women's Center on Monday from 1 p.m. Register by calling 416-439-7111. And there are your community events. Now back to you.
What a great show. Marvelous Muchenji here talking about what life's been like for her since acquiring HIV. And it's been a great life, and she's helping others now. We talked to Barb Holland, who made us a fabulous Irish meal. All those recipes can be found on the Foodland Ontario website. Adrienne Kress with her great books and her workshops for kids at Sick Kids. Love that. Tevin Thompson, local designer with great clothes and a great mission. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.